Week 2 of the Phoenix Festival tournament has come to a close, and with this being a double elimination tournament, we now have our first set of eliminations. Thank you once again to everyone who participated in the voting. It's always such a pleasure to read through all of your answers and see how you analyze things differently than everyone else. And I really look forward to reading more of your answers in the future, as after this round, there are definitely some more exciting matchups to come. But without further ado, getting into the results, in our first match we had Blake Belladonna versus Edern, one who relies on quick fighting and using her shadow as decoys versus one who roots herself in place and can deal a very heavy blow against her opponents. In this match, it came out to Blake's victory. A lot of people saying that her dust would be very effective against Elm, as well as her quick maneuverability, and Elm being a bit of a disadvantage, especially in the desert biome where she wouldn't be able to use her roots to get footing, which is what she relies a lot on with her fighting style. We saw what happened at the end of Volume 7, where when she lost her footing, she was at a bit more of a disadvantage and was able to be taken out. She's still very strong otherwise, even just without using her semblance, but Blake took the victory in this fight. In match 2, we had James Ironwood versus Yatsuhashi Daichi, another one where James is very maneuverable and Yatsu can hit extremely hard. But in this match, the big man was not enough to take down Ironwood. With his ability to maneuver around the different biomes, as well as the urban biome giving him enough cover, Ironwood would be able to take out the win against Yatsuhashi. A lot of people even pointing out that Ironwood would be a pretty good counter to Yatsuhashi's semblance. That Yatsuhashi, with his memory wiping, could be countered by Ironwood's metal, the ability that allows him to focus on a single task. And with this match being probably the thing that he would be focusing on, Yatsuhashi's semblance might not be that effective against him. But with his maneuverability, Ironwood does take this fight overall. Our third match saw Winter Snee versus Vine Zeki, the semblance of glyphs being as versatile as it is, as well as the dust that Winter has, against Vine and his aura vines. A very simplistic semblance, but one that is very versatile in its own way, as well as the ability to create a shield of sorts, as was shown at the end of Volume 8. But in this match, it was Winter's versatility that won out. She would be able to use the biomes to her advantage, the ocean biome with the electricity dust that we know Winter has thanks to her time dilation, as well as the time dilation being a very powerful ability on its own, as well as the other abilities of glyphs. She would be able to outmaneuver Vine, prevent herself from getting captured by his vines. It would not be an easy fight, but Winter would come out victorious overall, according to the voting. In our fourth match, we had Clover Ebby versus Emerald Sustrai, the closest match in this round. The winner having 51.9% of the votes, and the loser having 48.1%. This one could have gone either way, with Emerald and her ability to create hallucinations, Clover with his good fortune, possibly being able to counter Emerald's semblance, being able to find her even through the hallucinations, and in the end, it was Clover that came out the victor. He pulled out the victory over Emerald, a lot of people saying that his good fortune would allow him to dodge critical hits that Emerald would try to land against him, and once she did attack him, he would be able to find out where she was located, able to land hits against her that way, and his good fortune would very much help him win this fight. It would not be easy for him, he would definitely be taking some hits, but with his experience in the Aesops, he would be able to work it to his advantage and win overall. And then in our fifth match, we had Coco Adele versus Neapolitan, one whose weapon is very much geared towards long-range combat, and the other whose skill set is geared towards close-range combat, with Coco and having her Gianduja along with her semblance of hype being very devastating at long range, and Neo being able to manipulate an opponent at close range, use their momentum against them. And frankly, I thought that Coco had the advantage in this fight, being able to keep Neo at a distance and eventually would wear through Neo's aura. But it was Neo that came out the victor in this fight. A lot of people saying that she would be able to use the biome to her advantage. Mainly the mountain biome, as the ice biome would give a little bit of an advantage to Coco because her semblance of hype would be able to hype up the dust and cause it to explode, etc. But Neo, with her maneuverability as well as using her semblance of illusions, even though Coco could rip through them with her Gianduja, it would give her enough of a break to get close enough to Coco to be able to win the fight overall. And then in our 5th match, we had Cinderfall versus Sun Wukong. Both close-range fighters and both skilled dual wielders of their weapons, but in this case it was Cinder that came out the victor. A lot of people saying that Cinder is just more skilled than Sun. Along with her weapon of Midnight and having the explosive arrows, her Scorching Caress, she would be able to, well, deal more damage to Sun. Along with Sun's semblance draining his aura faster, Cinder would just come out the victor in this fight. And then in our 7th match, we had Marigold versus Piranekos, a top graduate from Atlas Academy and an extremely skilled student from Beacon Academy. Both, I would argue, are equivalent experience levels, but in this case, a lot of people gave it to Pyrrha. Even with May's semblance of invisibility, Pyrrha would just be able to use her polarity, pulse her aura, and be able to find out where May is, and eventually be able to use her skill to get close to her, deal enough damage, overwhelm May, especially with Pyrrha having a bit of a weapon advantage as well, having the shield to block May's weapon and counterattack with her sword. Well, Pyrrha would just take the victory in this fight. And then in our 8th match, we had Mercury Black versus Velvet Scarlettina, a very fast fighter in both cases, Mercury a little bit more so, and Velvet having the versatility with her Anisadora, being able to copy everyone's weapons and fighting styles thanks to her photographic memory. This would be an amazing fight to see, and according to the voting, Mercury would be the winner. He would be fast enough to exploit the gaps in Velvet's transitioning between different weapons and fighting styles. People were arguing that Velvet would be able to analyze Mercury's fighting style thanks to her photographic memory and be able to, use that to her advantage. But Mercury, being the faster fighter, would be able to overwhelm Velvet in the end, and with him hitting a little bit harder, he would take this match. And then in our 9th match, we had the Battle of the Aesops between Harriet Bree and Marrow Aemon. Marrow, with his ability of Stay, is a very strong ability, but against Harriet's speed, it was just not enough. He would be able to use his ability to get away from Harriet if she was able to get close. Being able to stop momentum in a single direction is very strong, but it drains his aura very quickly. And a lot of people were pointing out that Harriet is one of the main damage dealers of the Aesops. Marrow, along with Vine and Clover, are more of the support troops, whereas Elm and Harriet are the ones who deal the damage. So once Harriet is able to get close to Marrow, as he would be draining his aura while using his semblance, then Harriet would be able to land the finishing blow against him and would win this fight. And then in our 9th match, we had Weiss Snee versus Rhodes. Weiss having a massive amount of versatility with her glyphs and all the different types of dust that she has against a very veteran huntsman who can harden his skin and defend against many different attacks. In this case, it was Weiss that came out the victor, in large part to fighting in the ocean and forest biomes. The forest biome could just be lit on fire by her fire dust, as well as the ocean biome could be frozen with her ice dust, as well as electrified with her lightning dust. So Weiss definitely had the biome advantage, and a lot of people were saying that Rhodes lost to Cinder at like 16 years old. While that is the case, he wasn't fighting that seriously against her, in my opinion, because he cared about Cinder. Over the years that he was training her, he cared about her. In this case against Weiss, he would definitely be fighting more seriously, but I do agree with the outcome that Weiss, with the dust and semblance that she has, as well as being able to eventually get out her summons, she would take the victory in this fight. And then in our 11th match, we had Yang Xiaolong versus Fiona Time. Fiona we haven't seen fight on screen really at all, but her semblance is very tricky. Being able to store objects in her aura could be something that could be used to give her a pretty heavy advantage. Yang, on the other hand, we've seen fight on screen plenty of times. The maneuverability that she has with her gauntlets and the power of her semblance of burn would be able to give her the win in this fight. A lot of people pointed out that Fiona, well, we just haven't seen her capabilities yet, and Yang, we have seen how well she can handle the Aesops and, well, other opponents in the series. With her speed of her gauntlets, being able to get close to Fiona, avoid any debris that Fiona might summon from her semblance, and eventually be able to deal enough damage against her, Yang would just win this fight overall. In match 12, we had the battle of Team Ranger, Ruby Rose versus Lai Ren, two individuals who have come such a long way since the series began. Both very fast opponents as well. Ruby able to get speed in short bursts thanks to her semblance of Petal Burst, and Ren with his lighter weapons having a more faster base speed. At the end of the match, it would be Ruby that would come out the victor, in large part because her Crescent Rose would hit harder than Ren's Stormflower, that she would be able to deal more damage against against him, and if Ren was able to get close, he is more skilled at close combat, but RWBY with her weapon and her semblance would be able to get away from him and deal more damage. As well as being a sniper, her long-range capabilities are greater than Ren's, so she would come out the victor in this fight. And then in our 13th match, we had Fox Alastair versus Adam Toros, both extremely skilled and very fast opponents as well. In this one, with Adam being able to charge up his semblance, he would come out the victor over Fox. Fox would be able to use his telepathy to get into Adam's head, distract him, but Adam very likely would be able to keep his focus, charge up his semblance thanks to Fox with his long-range capabilities as well as his Tonfa blades in close combat, and would be able to overwhelm him in the end. And then in our 14th match, we had Tok versus Roman Torchwick. Tok being the very aggressive and straightforward fighter, and Roman being the very defensive fighter, able to block a lot of opponents' attacks and then counterattack. In this match, it was given to Tok, largely because Roman wouldn't be able to counterattack all that well when Tok is on the aggressive with her 60-second invulnerability. She would be able to block any of Roman's attacks simply by not having to block at all. She could tank those attacks and be able to overwhelm him. Now, he would be able to put up one heck of a fight, would be a very tricky opponent for her to come up against, especially if he's able to use the biomes to his advantage, but Tok would come out the victor in the end, largely being a more skilled and stronger fighter. And then in our 15th match, we had Robin Hill versus Ilya Amitola, two characters that we didn't have the chance to see fight on screen that much, but Robin being a top graduate from Atlas Academy, as well as Ilya having numerous years of experience in the White Fang, are two very skilled characters. In the end, though, it was Ilya that came out the victor, in large part because of her lightning lash and fighting in the ocean biome, being able to electrify it or electrify Robin's weapon and use her camouflage in the forest biome. The biomes themselves gave a large advantage to Ilya and gave her the win overall. And then in our last match, we had the Battle of Team Juniper, Nora Valkyrie versus Jean Arc. Two characters that know each other very well after fighting together for over 2 years now. And a lot of people were saying that Jean, with his ability to strategize on the battlefield and implement those strategies, would be able to come up with a way to defeat Nora. But with the biome advantage, Nora being able to charge her semblance very easily, she would end up overwhelming him in the fight. Even if he was able to come up with a strategy to defeat Nora and be able to put it into play, Nora with her strength would likely be able to overwhelm it. We have seen how much damage Nora can deal when she's charged up with her semblance, and with the Witch's Broom function of her Magnhild now, she would be able to get to the mountain biome before Jean would be able to stop her, charge up her semblance, and it would be a difficult fight for Jean to win. He does have the gravity dust in his shield to be able to launch her back a few times, but if she slammed the ground creating shockwaves, that could throw him off, and ultimately Nora would just have more ways to deal with Jean than the other way around. And so, for our first round of eliminations, we have Mero Aemon, Rhodes, Fiona Time, Lai Ren, Fox Alastair, Roman Torchwick, Robin Hill, and Jean Arc being eliminated from the singles category of the Phoenix Festival Tournament. Many of these characters we will see in the doubles category that will be starting next week, but they are eliminated from the singles category. And so, we have some interesting matchups to come. Next week, we will only be covering the 8 matches in the losers bracket, as it will make things more equivalent for the future weeks, but we have a lot to look forward to. Next week, we will be seeing matches such as Emerald Sustrai versus Adam Toros, Velvet Scarlettina versus Harriet Bree, and the Battle of Thunder Thighs being Elm versus Nora. But even more exciting is the week after, where we will get back to seeing the winners bracket and losers brackets together, where we will have some very exciting matches, such as Winter Snee versus Clover Ebby. How about a rematch between Neapolitan and Cinderfall, as well as finally determining who would end up winning between Piranekos and Mercury Black. So there are some really exciting matches to come. I hope everyone is looking forward to that as well, and I really look forward to seeing how each of you are going to analyze these matches to come. Let me know down in the comments below what outcome you thought was the most surprising of this week, as well as what match was your favorite out of all of them. What matches are you looking forward to the most? Let me know what you all think down in the comments below. And if you are enjoying the Phoenix Festival Tournament, want to see more content like this, as well as more RWBY content in general, make sure to subscribe and join the Guild of the Eternal Flame. Tweet me at Phoenix Knight 7, and I'll see you guys in the next video.